This is my official channel, and I'm Joyce Stewart, the author of the Barbecue series, and this program is all about love, marriage, relationships, and Christian dating. And I am happy to have with me a special guest and author, and also an expert, which I believe, in the marriage department. Welcome to Brides and Wives, Dominique.
Thank you so much for having me, Joyce. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited for you to be here because you are such a great inspiration, not only to me, but I believe thousands of people. The books that you've written already really kind of focus on relationships, on women, on family structures, everything having to do with the family base. And I know that you've authored at least 15 books right now, and you've been recognized by many sites, and one of the sites is Reader's Favorites Online. And also your books are can be located in the Elkert Library as well as on Amazon.com. And I know that you're well on your way to being a bestseller. You're a great contender in the relationship department because you have been married for so many years. And so I brought you on this show tonight because you're part of my, what I call the expert panel. You've exceeded the expectation of what the world system would call you know, the life or the lifestyle of a married person. So I want to get into, how many years have you been married?
Well, we're coming up on 2014, so as of January 4th, 2014, we're going to make 12 years.
That's so amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. It really is. It's definitely a feat. A fantastic feat.
Well, I mean, it is a great accomplishment, and what I want to also know about that is that where did you meet your mate? You know, how did you guys, you know, come into that first time meeting?
Well, I don't have that that traditional, we met in church, it was love at first sight. Oh no. I was 19 years old when I met him, and he was driving a semi-tractor trailer truck. And I just remember I was going to the grocery store. I had my son with me, pushing him down the street, and I was going to the grocery store, and I looked up and I seen this big truck pull up. And I was just thinking, like, what is this truck doing on the street? And he jumps out and he was like, "Hey, how you doing? I really couldn't go back to work until I talked to you." And I was like, "Excuse me?" So he just had me laughing, and I just could not wipe my smile off my face. And after that, he asked for my phone number, and I just thought that was a given.
Wow, that sounds like something that you would see in a movie. It doesn't even sound like that could happen in real life, and I like that because you know what? We have to come away from the traditionalism as a Christian females. Is that God may not, you know, show you your mate in a conference. You know, a lot of women are, you know, they're kind of like, you know, where is he? Where is he? Is he here? Is he at this church? Is he at that church? Maybe I'll go fellowship over there. I heard they have a good crowd over there. You know, and that is not necessarily where God is gonna you know, make it happen for you, because you know what? God is a romantic. I don't know if people understand that. I mean, a God that rescues you with his son. I mean, come on. So I love that. I love that intro right there. You know, because you can tell your grandchildren whenever you become one that, you know, this is how I met my husband, and give them that encouragement to wait, you know?
Yeah. And you know what I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What I was saying is that what we do now, a lot of times my husband and I will sit back and we'll be talking, and he'll go, "You picked me up," and I'm like, "Excuse me, you pulled the truck around and picked me up." And so we're always going back and forth with who saw who. So you know, we love it. You know, we definitely love it.
I see you guys. You know, you guys still have that, you know, real newness, and I say newness is because, you know, it takes a real loving couple to really kind of joke and jest about certain things, and I just love it. I really, really, really do. How long did you guys date before you decided to get married?
You know what? We didn't, like I said, we were so we were so far from traditional. It's not even funny. I wasn't planning on getting married. Like I said, I was 19 years old. My
Mm,
husband is 5 years older than me, and he wasn't in any position to be talking about getting married either. We were just having fun. But what happened was, like I said, the first day we met, we were just laughing and we just couldn't stop talking to each other,
wow.
that we end up making plans to talk more after he got off work. And so we went out that night, and I promise you, from that night to the next night and the next night, every day we spent together. The only time we weren't together is when he was at work. And after 6 months of being together every day, we were like, you know what? I love you. I love everything about you. And the only reason why we got married on January 4th is because on New Year's Day they're closed. So we went downtown to the courthouse and we got married.
My goodness. That is so beautiful. It really, really, really is. Oh my goodness, that is amazing. It's a great encouragement, and I like it because, we don't have to wait years and years. I don't know where, that's a world system, because think about it. I mean, if we're trying to live a little bit like the Bible says, then a year waiting for a person after being around them and, really liking them and falling in love too, it's a great bout. It's hard to really kind of sustain yourself physically. So you want to give yourself too much room to mess up if you don't mess up. So you want to kind of do it, get it done.
Hmm.
And I think when right? You kind of
Yeah.
know that this is who you really, really wanted to be with. You sound like you had a great friendship.
Yeah, I mean, he's a jokester and I love to laugh. So to me, that's our common ground right there. That's the bond that keeps us going. It's like, to this day, we'll be in the bed. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning. The kids are up and we're hiding underneath the covers, like, shh, be quiet. They'll hear you. We're still playing. So to me, you just
Unbelievable.
gotta have whatever it is that your fire is. If you find somebody with that fire,
Mm,
that's what you'll always have to go back on, because we'll always have trouble and problems in these
yeah.
trying times. So you need to have that fire, something that's real, not something that's fake. And fake is, money and different things like that,
Mhm,
looks, but you need to have
mhm.
that fire that never dies. So regardless of how old, how fat, how gray I get, we still have that fire where we can still
Yes.
hide underneath the covers and say, they'll hear you.
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. And then that goes towards the next question that I had, was what made him so unique in terms of, how did he stand out amongst the men that you used? I mean, you were young, only 19, but I'm pretty sure that even at 19 that you may have dated a few guys before he came along. And so how did he, differ from them?
Like I said, he wasn't the type of guy who was like, trying to see, I'm not going to call you first. I'm going to wait for you to call me. It wasn't about the rules with him. Everything was just like, hey, uh, did you see that movie? And it was just, more did we have in common? It was just like
Wow.
no holds barred with us, honestly. It was just like, you know what? When he met me, he was like, hey, I want to introduce you to my sister. I know she'll like you. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to take you home to my mother. And what also another thing, like, but besides the whole fun and games and everything, because, at the end of the day, I like you for this, but I would like to know that you're good on paper. I had my son with me, and he made sure that he gave my son the attention that he needed too. Although I'm gonna be honest with you, I really didn't like the fact that, and I tell him all the time, I didn't like the fact that when the first thing he said to my son was, "Who cut your hair, dude?" Like, excuse me, I cut his hair. I didn't know his father, you know.
Oh, wow.
So he
Wow.
decided that, he treated my son, he never treated my son any different. And my son is the only father that he knew. And I remember he was like, I got to cut that boy's hair. And I'm like, cut your hair.
Okay. But ladies, pay attention. If a man cannot accept your children, then he's not the man. He's not the
That
one.
was
The whole point is that when God links you with someone, that he links you. There's no, oh, well, he's the perfect person, but him and my children don't get along. Now, we're not talking about grown children who may have a little rebellion. We're talking about the small babies that they're going to be raising if you have small children. And you really have to get that together. You have to know and believe and say, God, is this the one? Because you don't want to have to divide your attention and have two babies on your hand, or you don't want to have a problem where the man is not able to be mature enough to take on the responsibility of whatever you're dealing with at that moment. Because if he wants to be in your life, he's going to have to take the totality of what comes with that. So I just
Yes.
want to put that out there to the women. God can give you a mate that will love you to the bone and love everything about you, including your children. So I just
Amen.
want to say that that's a non-compromised issue. Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
So now that we know that you've been married for, pretty much like a decade and life has its challenges, what do you feel in your marriage has been the most difficult challenge that you and your mate has gone through?
You know what? You said the most difficult. The hardest part is, like I said, I had my son before I met him,
Mhm.
and before he met me, he had children too, and actually he had children from two previous relationships. So at this
Mm.
point, he's got me in his life, and of course, he's got mom. So that's two women he's got. But in addition to that, I signed on to two more women.
Oh
So
my God.
imagine if you've ever dealt with blended family and all of these different personalities. It takes it's a journey trying to get all of these
Yes.
personalities to
Yes.
respect each other, on each other, and set boundaries. Because honestly, everybody before I came, his baby's mothers was like, hey, I need some money and I need you to come right now. And it's like, no, there's a time and a place for that. You need to call at a decent hour and we'll deal with you then if it's not an emergency. So there's
Mm.
different things that you have to work out when you have all of these different personalities, and nobody likes change.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
after a while, he was being pulled in different places. So it's difficult for him because he's like I call him a fence rider. He doesn't like to make waves and jump on one side of the fence. And so it
Mm.
took a lot of time for him to realize, like, you know what? I love you. I love your children. I love your mother. But you need to put me first, and then I'll help you with them. I'll pass messages. I'll drop the kids off. I'll pass this around. So it just took a
Wow.
little while for him to get used to that. And then after a while, it takes time. I mean, there's no secret. I can't tell you the quick fix on how to get somebody to get out of what they're used to.
Yes.
But like I said, after a while, people respect that you are who you say you are. As long as you're consistent and you love them and you have their best interests in mind, everybody will see that and everybody will come into play. And that's right. That was the hardest thing to get over, to blend the blended family.
My goodness. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because, at any age, I'm not even going to say at my age, but at any age, you can come into a relationship where a man has children and on the average man does, and you just have to face facts that who God sends to you is not going to be perfect. He's not going to be like, oh, I don't want any man that has children. I mean, you're counting out so many good men that have the first of all, the experience of knowing how to be a dad and the experience of knowing what he really truly wants in a relationship. Because if he was willing to walk, I don't want to say walk away from another relationship, but if he recognized that that wasn't his soulmate, but he's still going to take on the responsibility as being a dad, and he meets you, then that counts for a lot. That means a lot. And I like how you also said that you had to deal with so many different personalities. And it just goes to show that even at your age at 19, you were a very mature woman. You weren't a little girl playing house. You knew what you wanted, and even taking on the responsibility of his kids and him taking on yours. I think it's a little bit of a difference when a woman does it, because men don't normally have to worry about what I call the baby mama drama. They don't really too much have to deal with that. I mean, let's be real. How many cases do you see that? Very seldomly. But when you take on the responsibility of all of that, putting it together, you become really like, to me, you're a superwoman. You're like, I wish I had met you a long time ago. I mean, this is the type of stuff that women need to hear. They need to be coached sometimes through this, and I think that you would be a great role model in this area, because a lot of women mess up. That's where they mess up big time, is they don't know how to handle a blended a relationship where there's women on the outside. He may have 2 or 3 women that he had a relationship with, and a child came with that, and then also trying to balance their own children, and all together making it one big family. That is a great responsibility, and I applaud you 100% for all the things challenges that you stood by, and it's working. Obviously, it's been working, and I know that your husband finds you to be a treasure. I know he's not going anywhere.
I'm gonna quote you on that. So when next time I get on his nerves, I'm gonna say, "Excuse me, I'm the treasure. Don't forget, treasure."
Proverbs 31, that would be me.
Yes, sir. But
That is
no,
so
that's it's
awesome.
you're absolutely right. That is like one of the biggest things. It's almost like something that you need to, but you know what? Let me go back to what you said, because I was 19. It's very difficult to say mature and 19 in the same sentence. But
Mm,
the fact that I had a child at that point, it commanded me to have needs and desires, and I needed to not be juvenile.
yeah.
So I knew that this man had children before I came into play. And so I appreciated the fact that he was going to be the father that my son's father refused to be, And so out of respect, if you can take care of me and mine, I can
Mhm.
take care of you and yours. If I love you, I love them too. So we actually, and it's really funny because I had a car and we were driving two cars, and it was important to me that when we were going places together, it's seven of us, all of us, five kids and two adults,
Okay.
seven people. So we obviously can't get in the same car. So I was like, this sucks having to always try to follow you when we're going different places. And I was like, baby, we need to go get the soccer mom van, and we bought a van, and like technically I really didn't have to do it, because why do I need to have the soccer mom van when I was looking really cool in my little car, with my two kids? Well, I actually eventually we had a child together, so that's where the fifth kid come from.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had my son and my daughter, so I really didn't need to, but I was like, you know what? We're going to be a family. If we're going
Yeah.
to be yelling and talking and having the conversation, we need to all be in the same car. So it was an investment for us to get a bigger car, because I knew that even though his children didn't live with us day in and day out,
Mhm.
they needed to be with us. And when we do have outings and we do things, we need to do this as a family, as a unit.
Yes.
Not no,
Yes.
you get in your car with your daddy and I take my kids with
My
me. It
goodness.
doesn't work like that. We're a blended unit. That's
Yes.
what a
Yes.
blend
Yes.
is.
Yes.
So children make you grow up. I mean, if you want to be married and ultimately you want to be married till death do us part, so you're looking at the long term thing, it's an investment for you to grow up. And it's an investment for you. You can't make other people grow up like the other women, because they tend to be a little envious that you made this man grow up that couldn't grow up while he was with them. But
Mhm.
you have to just
Mhm.
understand and
Say
talk to them.
it.
I get it. But you're just gonna have to work with me on my plan.
Yes.
So,
You
but yeah.
Awesome. I really love what you said. And a lot of women need to hear that because they think, you know, oh wow, why is he, being the perfect dad or the perfect man now in her life, and I'm gonna mess that up. And see, the thing is that when you do that, that's sowing a seed, and maybe they can't appreciate it at that level or where they are at that time. But we as women of God, we have to really overcome these obstacles and realize that when God gives us something, it's not always a perfect picture. And we have to begin to see the vision that God has seen. And I love how you say, one of the things you say is we're a family. We're not going to ride in one separate vehicle. It's not yours or mine. It's ours. And I'm pretty sure that that has been the tool that you've used to keep things, balanced and keep things in a structure. And I want to admonish the women of God today relating to these types of situations, these types of relationships, is that you have to keep the focus off of just you. It can't be just about you. It can't be all about you. It has to be all about y'all. It has to be all about the plans that God has given you as a family unit, as you said. And so I think that, with that type of maturity, sometimes, yes, you should grow up when you have children, but we see tons and tons of people who do not. Even when they find a good guy, they still refuse to wake up and kind of smell the coffee,
Yeah.
in a sense, because they still think that it's going to be mine, 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 and I'm not going to share, and I'm not going to do this. And without certain compromises, you're not going to be successful in a relationship, no matter what God does for you. You just have to grow up yourself first, is what I say. And then you can begin to operate on that level where you can appreciate what God has given you. So I really love all of what you said. And I also want to find out, like, what is it in your relationship in a decade? How do you, balance the being in the family aspect where your mom, your you have your own life because you're a writer, you have your own career, and you're a wife, but how do you balance that along with being a couple, being, like, keeping that fire going?
Well, in all honesty, like I said, we don't go by a playbook with no rule books. We just do it. And the at this point now, like I said, the children that I have in my house on a steady everyday basis is I've got a 9-year-old and I've got a teenager, a 14-year-old. Please pray for me, you guys. So this is what we have at home right now. And so right now they're getting to the point where they want to go to basketball. We got volleyball. We've got all of these activities. So my mother told me a long time ago, because I'm the youngest of 6 kids, and she told me a long time ago, she said, when you have kids, your life is no longer yours. She said, when they get out your house, then you go find you an activity, a craft, and you get your life. She said, but until you do, she said, you have turned your life over to them and you're supposed to dedicate your things to them. So my husband and I, we really don't, our us time is really nighttime. So we make sure they're in the bed by 8:30. So that way we have our little time, pillow talk and everything. But in general, we don't take separate vacations. We should, but I mean, obviously our budget really doesn't allow for us to take separate vacations like that. One day we would, but at the same time, you know, we love our children, and we're just, in this day and age, and I hate to say it, but Satan is really running amok on this earth. And so we're very leery about who we leave our children with for any length of time.
Yes.
So we don't really, if we don't have to, we try not to do the babysitter thing. So we tend to do things as a group. So we're going to the Dells as a group. We're going to basketball. We're going to volleyball. We're doing everything as a group. So when we're at home, then everybody get in the queen size bed, and all 4 of us, or if we got the other kids over, everybody's in the bed watching Netflix, you know. And it's not an issue, you know, because we have fun. We pick something that we like to do as a unit, and we have fun. So we don't really look at it like, baby, when are we going to have some time together? Our time together is after the lights go off.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. And I thank God that, you know, even with all of those responsibilities, ladies, it is important for us to carve out time to, you know, to work on our one-on-one with our husbands. You know, there is that bond, that in that connection that always has to be renewed and kept. And we're responsible. Not saying we're responsible alone. The man is responsible as well. But we have our part, and we have to make sure that that aspect of our lives is really, really taken care of, you know. We don't want the enemy, like you said, the enemy is running amok. And let me tell you something. He is destroying marriages like nothing. And if you're not prayed up and you don't know, you know, how to keep things going, and you're not a prayer warrior, I'm telling you, your pretty little cute body and face is not going to just keep the man, because that's everywhere. That's everywhere. So we need to know what it is that makes our husbands tick, okay? And we need to take care of home. He needs to take care of us, but we need to take care of home. And that's what I'm hearing tonight, is that you take care of home. You take care of those things that man can go out and work and bring the money home to you. And I don't mean just the physicality of that. I mean, he's bringing his treasure. For men, a lot of times it is that money. And when we give something, we're giving of ourselves, of our bodies. You know, that's our treasure. You know what I mean? So he's giving you his treasure. You're giving him back, and you're feeding back into one another, and you're making it work. You're making it happy. And I'm excited tonight to know that, you know, these things. You know, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, you know, marriages, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. You know what? Whatever you put into something, that's what you're getting out of it. If you're not sowing into something, you can't expect it to grow. So I applaud you for your sowing. You knew where your treasure was, and you knew the things that you needed to do to get where you are today. And that's what's keeping your marriage alive and strong. And so I just want to say to the ladies out there, these things are possible. These are the type of women that I want you to not take your eyes off of, because they're going places. I also want to talk about, you know, something that I feel that would assist women, and that's your new upcoming book. And I know I took a little sneak preview, ladies, and it's called She's Out, I'm In. And I want you to actually talk about that a little bit, whatever you want to share with the women, and kind of encourage them about that.
Well, the book is a collaboration project that I wrote with the award-winning Tennille Jackson, and she's an author of self-help books. So that's what she won her awards for. So she is also been married for over 10 years. And so what she and I did, how we connected, is I think we have so much in common because we're about the same age. We've been married the same amount of time. And so what happened is, as everybody knows, what we're doing is nothing special. It's nothing different. Our mothers, our grandmothers, they've had the same experiences with their relationships. It's all the same old, just different to us, different day, different names. And so as we were talking and we were thinking about all the things that we've gone through to get to our decade, to cross our line and our hurdles, you know, the problems that we have with communication, with setting boundaries, like I said, with the in-laws and with the extended family, you know, those are the same things that people have all the time in all relationships. So what we did is we took 7 different topics that tend to have be relationship breakers or deal breakers, and I wrote my portion of the book is like I do with all of my stories. All of my stories are pretty much relationship based. And what I do is I take real life situations that you can very well put your feet in, or somebody that you know, or know that it can happen. So I write those stories to get you in there and get your blood pumping like, excuse me, I wish I would, I'm out. And then Tennille comes back with the solution and she goes, well, you know what, Dominique, before you left, and I'm just using my name because, or better yet, whatever the character was, the couple might have been John and Sue. So Tennille will come back and say, well, John, before you left, maybe if you and Sue had communicated, sat down, you expressed to them, and what she does is she goes over, point out the different things that we tend not to realize. Like we just assume, like, what you mean that you didn't know you were supposed to come home before 3 o'clock in the morning? Like I'm not here. Like I don't need you. Sometimes we need to say these things, but the truth of the matter is we just assume that you know better. You assume that just because the babies are sick that I got it, but yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got that. But I need you to come home and just have my back. Take second shift. You know, so these are things that we can't assume that you know, that we have to vocalize. So Tennille, she takes the spin on it and she is awesome with being able to pinpoint the problems. Like I made the problems and she came behind me and fixed them. And I'm like, excuse me, let me see if I've got a problem. I'm gonna need to call you, okay? But she's really good with it, honestly. And so either people are gonna find takeaways from the books or they're gonna find sheer entertainment. Either way it goes, it's a win-win. It's a great collaboration project and I can't wait for people, whether you're married or you're just enjoying a relationship with somebody and you're like, he did not answer my call, you know? So I definitely encourage people to pick that up, or you can pre-order your copy if you can't wait, because it's definitely something good to have. Trust me.
Also, tell the ladies where they can pre-order it and the website and how they can find you.
Well, we offer 2 different websites that you can go to and you can pre-order your copy through. One is Tennille is the founder of a company called it's called Authors Promoting Success. And so you can go to that website, which is weareaps.com, or you can go to the book sale tab on my website, which is www.authordwilkins, and Wilkins is WILKINS, goodbooks.com. So either site you can go and you can pre-order your copy, and it's going to be available in paperback and ebook.
That is so awesome and so wonderful. And I like how, you know, even with, you know, you being here tonight, Dominique, you are such a great person in terms of not just the married, but especially the married people, because there's some people that's probably going through some things right now and they can take and listen to what you're saying and be encouraged and know that it's just a process that they have to go through. But also on women who are looking to get married, they need to know that it's not just a fairy tale romance. Yes, you'll have romance, you know, but this is work. You know, relationships are work, and nothing comes, you know, so easy that, you know, you're just gonna, you know, it's just flowing. You know, there's some, you know, rolling up your sleeves type stuff that you need to do. You need to be on your knees sometimes. Sometimes it's a lot of conversation and communication that has to go on between you and your mate, like you say. I think women have a bad habit, and this is something that maybe, I don't know whether it's passed down traditionally, but women have a bad habit of thinking that their man is supposed to read their mind. And they're supposed to just know, oh, he just knows me, you know, and it doesn't necessarily, there may be some things that he can pick up because he's learned you, you know, he's observed you and he's paid attention, but all men don't see the same things and think the same way, so you cannot assume that they're going to know or just pick it up, because I gave him the attitude. No, you need to give him the vocalness of what's going on in your mind, so that he can be accountable for what you say and not just for what you're doing. Because a lot of times men are just as clueless. They really
Yes.
are. They be like, I don't know what's wrong with her. They be calling another man like the other man gonna know. And the other man don't know no more than they know. Come on, man, I don't know what's going on. Me either. You know, so they doing the wrong thing. But I just admonish you tonight. And I thank you so much for coming on the show. You've been like I said, a great resource. And I pray that these women would hear everything that you said and go on your website, dwww.dwilkinsgoodbooks.com, and as well, give them that other website again with Tonell. And how do you spell it? It's Toneal, I think.
Yeah, the other website is www.weareaps.com, and the acronym stands for Authors Promoting Success.
Yes, for those who may have the gift. So I just want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been a great delight. Hopefully we'll see you again. And ladies, keep it holy and virtuous. You'll never, ever get what God has for you if you don't wait on him. So God bless you and have a good night.
Thank you, Joyce.
Bye.